counting down. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to March. Isn't it crazy, Charlene? It's like January was 2 years long. February was 1 week long, as it always is. February's always very fast. Let's hurry up and get these Black people and all their celebrations out of here.
Yes, exactly.
And now we're in March, and spring is on the horizon. I'm going to jump right in, if you don't mind, just to share the drink because it's going to melt.
Okay.
And because spring is coming, I'm using my spring mug today.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I have on top foam. I
Mhm.
did like you can do it cold or hot. It's a coffee with a splash of Kahlua in it. And this is vanilla. There's some salt. There's some salted caramel going on in here as well, and then the vanilla foam on top. Listen, treat yourselves to some foam next time you go to the grocery store. You don't need it. You don't. But it's just special and it just makes me smile when I look down at it in my cup. And I have it in the fridge. I bought it like this is only my second time getting it. I don't use it every day. But sometimes you just need a little. And it's chilly. It's a little chilly outside today after it being so nice yesterday. It was so warm outside, but you're in Florida, so good morning.
Good morning. I sat outside this morning. So there is an alligator. I think it's just one particular alligator that swims behind our house, and there's a landing of grass. You know it, but he likes to sunbathe over there. And so yesterday, so whenever we see him, generally Lewis sees him and he'll point them out. And of course, they're just fascinating to me. These gators are fast. I am fascinated by them. So I run outside and I just want to see him swim. And this particular one, okay, this is what he did. Not only, so, we have the screen porch, right? And then behind that, we have another metal fence. And then behind that is some grass and some water. So I went outside and I was standing inside the metal fenced area and he saw me. He stopped, did not move, and then he turned to come towards me. And he probably came maybe about maybe a yard in my direction. And then I think he determined, nah, I can't get to her. One, she's too big. Two, there's a fence, too much work. I'm going to go about my business. And then he turned back around and went on his way. And same thing today. Saw him again this morning. Went out there. He stopped, but he didn't turn towards me. He's like, I know who that is. I'm not even going to put forth the effort. So, but that was so cool. I'm fascinated by them. I am fascinated. Fascinated.
I think that you're too much of an appetizer. If I were there, I think they'd be full for days. So I'd be a lot more. I'd be a lot more. Be a lot more. All right, interesting. So before we talk about today's topic, I was a few minutes late
Okay, hold on.
because.
I'm drinking my
Oh
typical.
yes.
So this is again mimosa, and I put in this Simply, the brand Simply, that's the orange juice, they have the cranberry juice. So this is the Simply Peach. So it's half Simply Peach and half it's a strawberry margarita mix that's just basically is just strawberry flavor. So I have half and half along with the prosecco and of course the strawberry on top. So that's what I'm drinking this morning. So
Mm.
that's it. We can move on.
Okay, I've just got to get it together. I don't know what it is. When I'm at home, it feels like it's too early to drink. But when I'm at a restaurant for brunch
Mhm,
at the exact same time,
mhm.
I can't even go there if they don't have mimosas. So this is spectacular, though. And there's enough caffeine in here, baby. I'm getting a lot done after this call. What you say?
She'll ask you the next week.
Yeah, because it's an espresso. I have an espresso machine. So a lot of people have the Keurig. You know, I get it. I gifted my mother
Listen, to
some.
me, okay, so to me, and I have one. I have
You
one.
have a
But
Keurig?
yeah, it was a
A
gift.
Keurig. Mm-hmm.
It was a gift. Um, so not that I consider myself a coffee connoisseur because I'm not, but before that, I used to use a French press, which I loved. I think I shared that with you.
Yeah.
Loved, 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 loved it. But then I stopped drinking coffee, and actually, it was one of my birthday parties that I wanted to have to be able to serve coffee afterwards for anyone that wanted it. But to me, I look at those like I look like that I like I look at bread makers. I think it's cheating. It's like fake. It's
Mm,
not real. It's not. I don't know.
no,
Because I'm like, I'm a scratch cooker and it just seems like it's cheating to just
no,
put on
Charlene, you use seasoning packets and stuff. So
for certain things.
that's what I'm
They're
saying.
more
Somebody
flavor.
could mix.
They're more flavor enhancers than the whole
Why are
thing.
we getting
So,
a thumbs down? I
but
hate that little random bubble pops
oh,
up with a thumbs down. That's not even a
probably because
real
we're
person.
disagreeing. Maybe
It's
I think that
AI.
it
It's the
is. So we,
robots.
we determined that, right? We found that out through our little research. But so anyway, so I just feel like I feel like the Keurig is kind of cheating, but it's good. It's convenient, right? You pop the little pod in, press the button, add your stuff, all is good. So
What?
anyway,
Yeah, it's definitely not cheating. I disagree with you on that. But the Nespresso is next level. The coffee is superior. Now you can't like, oh, you're out somewhere and you see ground coffee and you want to get it or grind your beans. But I could have a French press. They're very inexpensive. Like it sounds fancy, y'all, but they have them at Ross for like under $15. And you just put it all down in the bottom and let it. I mean, you let it sit and then you strain it by just pushing the
Mhm.
lever down. But and I could consider that sometimes, but I am really, really hooked on the Nespresso, but also the arancini that I have with it. So when you put your creamer in there, this is when you would leave Starbucks alone if there's any coffee drinkers out there, because that's what tipped me over the edge. Everybody knows that they could easily make their own coffee, but the arancini, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. When you pour the cream in there, it whips it. You don't want to stand there with the whisk. Don't do that, not if you're a real coffee drinker. I converted not only Tori, but when I had a sister retreat last May, I took my Nespresso, I took my Arrowcini, and I took my special oat milk, which by the way, Tori, I had to switch to another one because I was in the grocery store and they did not have it. And I'm shocked, but this is pretty good. I can't remember what kind it was, but it was a combination of almond and oat, and it's turned out fine. That other brand had me in a chokehold in a way that I didn't like. I don't want to be have to. I don't want to be so reliant on one brand of something and then I can't
Mhm.
get it anywhere else. But the Nespresso is just very superior to the Keurig if you're a coffee drinker.
Mhm.
And I love that Amazon, you can get the pods re-delivered the same day. And so, like when I place my order now, it's about $1 a pod, which it's going to cost me $39 to get this pack. And as depressed as I am about that, because there's a lot of other stuff in my Amazon cart right now, I need all of it. One more year and then I'll be done with Bezos. I'm going to transition away from Amazon somehow next year. But it pays for itself because for whatever reason, Starbucks, people who have this Starbucks habit, it's almost, I would equate it to the dessert stomach. Like you thought you were full, but then there's some really good cake and now there's new room. Starbucks, I don't think people factor it into their budget. You just keep spending every time you go there, and then they create disconnect in your mind by having you put it onto their app. So now it's not coming directly out of your bank account anymore. You're not as connected to what you're spending. But
Mm,
baby, I was running it. I was reloading all the time. And
mm,
that's when it hit me like a year and a half or so ago. I need to get another Nespresso like I used to have years ago. And
mm.
it's just it's a big savings. And that's what Tori says, Starbucks will never see her money. I go to Starbucks now as a true treat, probably only like twice a month, when I just want, I like some of their cold drinks, or I may go every now and then for like a matcha, but I'm about to start doing my own matcha at home as well. So I got a lot of stuff going on, Charlene. If I was saying that, yeah, go ahead.
No, 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 no. So I stopped going to Starbucks years ago. I when Alan was in elementary school, I was there every day. I would drop her off school. I'd go there. I'd start my day, plan out my visits for my patients, and so it was just a part of my routine. And then once I got my French press, I left it all alone. But I'm not that coffee girl anymore. I'm more of a mimosa girl.
We see that. See, the problem is, y'all, she's semi-retired. Okay. If I was doing the mimosa and I'm at home, I'm not getting a damn thing done the rest of the day. Nothing is happening. But with this coffee, by the end of today's episode, I'll be like, and so then I'll be happily, Shirley don't have to slow me down from being so caffeinated. But what I was gonna say before we jump into today's topic, just want to say hi to
Hi,
Tori
Tori.
and anyone else that joins. Is I was a little bit late because I was getting transitioning from a backpacking call. So I am backpacking overnight, and we're actually going to have to run a replay that day. Now that I think about it, Charlene, because I won't be back out of the woods yet. It's the
Okay.
very end of the month. I'm going with a group. I joined this black hiking group, and that today was a call just to kind of share information about what we need to have. And so I have been doing a ton of shopping. It's been expensive and I haven't even purchased my sleeping bag yet, but I feel like I'm nearly there. I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm driving way across town this afternoon to get a tent from this guy. And if I get this tent at this price, I'm golden. But I'm just
Okay,
excited.
so make sure like you set it up while you're there.
Oh, we're
Like,
doing all that. So next Sunday, actually, I need to look at the time for that and see if that's going to conflict with us there, because we may do an earlier taping, which is great because we have a guest who wants to come but can't come on a Sunday. But anyway, we're bringing all of our stuff to this central location,
okay.
because not only do I am I gonna, then that's why it's good doing it in a group and people who are more experienced than me. Not only am I going to set my tent up, which I want to practice that in my own backyard before I even
No,
get.
what I'm saying is when you go to purchase, so this is a used tent I'm taking.
Oh, when I go to purchase. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, you're right.
make
Take
sure
it
that
out.
he sets it up and all of that, and all the pieces are there and it works fine before you hand over the pennies.
Okay, so that is clutch, and I definitely need to do that. And then I also want to practice setting it up on my own. And then I have yesterday I got a new. I went into Walmart, which I don't do, but I don't feel guilty because I've diminished my hold on all that a lot. But they had a lot of great stuff on sale, and I got a backup backpack and just the other things. And listen, I just want to say why, another reason why I'm doing this. First of all, I love nature. So it is easier for me than it is for people who don't love nature or don't love the woods. But I've always felt like it's good to know things. You never know what can happen. And if you think about, like, there's a book I'm reading right now that's a little scary. It's fiction about somebody, being in the woods. And then also Zero Day on Netflix with Robert De Niro, 10 out
Just
of
finished
10.
it just finished it last night. Binge the
I,
whole
I,
thing.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep and didn't see the last episode. But here's the thing: eventually, something is going to happen, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be deadly. It doesn't mean that it's going to be like there's no hope. But people who know nothing and are totally unprepared for any level of scenario are going to struggle more. And if you've even been through a storm or any type of power outage, etc., it doesn't feel good to be unprepared. And so that's on my list this year. While I'm not doing international travel, I want to prepare to have different things here. So, like the camping stove that I'm using for backpacking, I want to
Mhm.
have that at home. What if
Mhm.
I had a situation where there was like, even if you think about something like in the book I'm reading, there's a power outage, the grid has collapsed
Mhm.
and the power's not coming back. We're so used to being able to call someone or go somewhere, do something. I want to have things so that I'm in as much comfort as I can be, even if the sky is falling. And so part of the backpacking is forcing me to learn survival skills that I used to be dependent on the ex-husband for. He was big into that. We never backpacked together or anything like that, but I was born in the country, so it's not a leap for me. It's just that I kind of shut my brain off to all that stuff because that was the part that he did. And so now it's actually, I see why I couldn't do this 2 years ago. It would have been triggering for me just even looking at all this stuff. But I'm in a totally different headspace now. I'm very excited. I can't wait to like get some household chores done, finish the call so I can just go play in all of the things that I bought yesterday and finish spending another $200 on Amazon on the water filtration systems. What if you were out there though and you needed to filter some water to drink, like just basic things? So anyway, I have a tarp already, Tony. I just got that at Walmart yesterday, and so I that's important for ground cover and also less risk of something that you put your tent on, tearing a hole in your tent and then air getting in. But I also have some some repair patches that I can put on things. So trust me when I tell y'all, this group is they backpack regularly. So if I'm not listening to anybody that does not have a tent and is not backpacking regularly on their own presently, because there's a lot of new stuff going on. And so the group is informed. I listen, I've even tried out a dehydrated meal already. And Charlena, you would have even approved of this one because that's the thing for this trip. I'm not cooking. I can only do so much right now. And so when I went to REI last weekend and got my very pricey backpack, I picked up one of the dehydrated meals and said, "Let me try this." Just when I'm not in
So what
pressure,
did you think of it?
it was delicious.
So, okay, you know what? The only reason why I actually believe that is because we were given a dehydrated ice cream sandwich.
They sell those at the Space Center.
It, yes, actually were given to us by an astronaut. But it was amazing. I was so surprised at the complexity of flavor. It was so good.
Yes.
I was shocked. We
Yes.
both were shocked at how good it was.
I tried that, but I don't remember being impressed.
I
But,
was
but
very
listen,
impressed.
I'm going to, and this is extreme, but it may sound extreme, but I have a dehydrator already, and
Mhm,
the only thing I may dehydrate for this trip is some fruit jerky. Very simple to do, but
mhm,
I'm going to start having some dehydrated food that I just have around in my own packets and containers. Not a ton of stuff, but just a little. If I had to make it 2 days or something like that, that I would have, and especially if you road trip, just to have a little kit of things and stop assuming that the conveniences will always be there. That's the TED talk. What and everybody you can get too far and then get nothing done. So just think about who you are and kind of how you move and what would work for you and make some preparations from there of some kind. Can you just start carrying like an emergency blanket in your car when it's colder outside and just having some kind of little kit together? And I'm just really proud of myself for what I've been doing so far. And I just don't, especially being, single and then responsible for my 83-year-old mother and my son. I just want to have some basics for at home. And if
mhm.
I do a road trip or something like that, I want to pretend to be the damsel in distress who's really got it all under control.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Okay.
Good stuff. All right. So this is just a side note for you and me. The brisket is in the oven.
Oh, is it?
It is. I got
Okay. Did you
it early.
marinate it yesterday?
Yes, I did. I made my own
Okay.
rub. I rubbed it
Okay.
down, put it in the fridge, and it's in the oven. That was my goal, to have it in the oven before we started the podcast. And
Mm. Well,
So,
I really want to screen share and show something, but I'm not going to do it because when you said that, I thought about how different my Sundays look than they did when I had like the whole family and everything. My life revolved around mealtime. Like I was on the plantation. I was the house Negro. Okay. Yes. Everything I did revolved around cooking. I would make a big Sunday breakfast. And this is going to tie right into our topic today. I would make a big Sunday breakfast and I would always be thinking about dinner and I was always grocery shopping and I spent so much time meal prepping and planning and all of that and that was the weirdest part for me transitioning was okay, it's quiet, which I love, but what do I do with myself now? But
mm,
in that environment, I remember I wanted to make waffles. And this was a common thing. And everybody, the family loved eating everything I cooked, of course. And I would say this as nice as can be. Hey guys, I want to make some waffles. I'm happy to do it. Is anyone else willing to clean the waffle maker when I'm done and just tidy up the kitchen? That's the topic today, y'all. Reciprocity. I
mm,
have some strong opinions on this. And let me be clear, I don't care what anybody thinks about my opinions. I don't care what anybody I don't. I'm going to put that on. I'm going to run that on the screen in a second because I feel very strongly about this. I don't think that it taught my children well to see me wake up every day, set myself on fire, run around serving everybody, and I couldn't even get anybody to clean the waffle maker. Like no,
so
everybody
okay,
wanted
so
to
let me just
enjoy
say this.
the meal.
I say this to
Nobody
you
wanted
out,
to help.
I say this to you out of love.
Yes.
You created that monster. I mean, that's just what it was. And once you create a monster, it's hard to get that monster back under control. And that's what you've been experiencing or were experiencing, in your marriage, in your relationship. So, you know.
So yeah, so this is the basic premise of it, and we can argue about it, and we can if we both have don't have enough to say, we'll talk about something else. But listen, I do not believe in non-reciprocal relationships anymore at all. And part of this is because of the one way street I was on for so long and the one way street I was on that my children have been affected by as well. Part of it is because I did walk right into a two-way relationship and saw how easy it was, how the flow just and again, we don't have Coach Tanya on today to talk about transactional relationships. She's the one who can't come on a Sunday, so we need to figure out another time because she's talked against them, and then it made me question with him, like, is this a transactional relate? It didn't feel that way. It felt automatic, but I don't want it, Charlena. Even a friendship, there should be
But
nothing we are
so,
doing.
my perspective, I believe that all adult relationships that are relationships that you have chosen are transactional. And that's not a bad thing. It's not. I think that, so for example, and the reason why I phrase it that way in terms of saying relationships that we choose. So, I mean, you look at your relationship with your kids, you're a mother, you're raising your child. I mean, as they grow older, you expect certain things from them. You do certain things, you expect certain things. They eventually get to that place where, as your mother, I'm doing these things. As my child, I expect respect. I expect you to clean your room. There's certain things that you expect in those relationships. But in terms of speaking of two adults that are choosing to be in a relationship, it is very transactional, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are certain things that you do and you bring into that relationship, and there are certain things that you expect back in that relationship. So whether let's say it's a friendship, you offer your friendship to that person in the way that you express friendship, and that person in turn gives friendship to you in terms of the type of friend that they are. and what they believe that friendship is. And if that works for you, the relationship, you maintain the relationship. It continues. You continue to grow in your friendship. But if you aren't getting what you feel that you should get from the relationship, then either, you might say something about it, or eventually the relationship will just, what to say, fade to black. But I truly believe that relationships are transactional, and there's nothing wrong with that if what I'm giving is what I choose to give, and if what you're giving is what you choose to give, and both of those things work for the individuals in the relationship. I will say that all of my relationships that I have chosen to be with my friends, even with my husband, is a transactional relationship. It's so interesting. We tease each other. He and I tease each other about that. Um, I mean, just recently, just yesterday, I don't even know how this came up, but just yesterday, he's like, "Look, babe," he goes, "I'm an easy man." He goes, "Listen, we're grown." I'm assuming there's all grown folks on here. He's like, "Look, you know, cook for me when you choose to, and keep taking care of me, and we're good. That's all I need,
Dropping it
right?"
like it's hot. But you know
That's
what?
all.
Most men are. It's women are the
Are that
ones that are
simple.
complicated.
And so that works for me. And then the things that I need, which are, his love, support, um, the things that he does around the house while I'm working, and just, being my man, that works for me. Who he is and what he brings works for me. And so it's transactional, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think people think, I think, if you go into a relationship, and where it becomes a problem is when people say, "Well, I'm only going to do this for you. If he ain't doing this, then I ain't going to do that. And if she's not
It
doing this,
shouldn't be on
I'm
that.
not
It shouldn't be
doing that."
ticky tacky. Let me share
Right.
this, Carlina.
Right. It's truly, I
Share this.
think it's about who you are as an individual, bringing that to the table, and the other person bringing what they bring to the table. There's reciprocity. I'm getting what I want and need. You're getting what you want and you need, and it works. So,
Yeah, so I'm gonna
you,
break this down even more because I have been on a one-way street for most of my adult life, and it is all my fault. But I want to break it down: romantic relationship, friendship, children, what this all means. And so, the definition here is that the practice of exchanging the reciprocity is the practice of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit, especially privileges granted. This says by one country or organization to another. So this is what I want to say on this. Okay, every single thing is built on reciprocity, but there's something especially given towards women, although this happens to a lot of men, where we feel like we're supposed to suffer and die on the cross every day and take care of everyone else. And I wonder how much of this is religious programming, but I don't know. I'm not trying to open that full can of worms, but there's something in many of our mindsets that feels like we're supposed to be a martyr for some of us, because that's definitely how I felt. And if I complained about having too much and not receiving enough, I would either hear, "Well, I don't really care about all these other things. You're just choosing to do all of that." So it was saying to me, "Do less," because I'm definitely not trying to do more. Okay. And I've experienced that in friendships as well. The other person, and they may not want to do all this little stuff that you keep doing. I really feel like I want to slow walk some of what I'm saying because I don't want to miss anything, and I did not do an outline as I should have. So I'm going to try to make this as plain as I can. It starts with, first of all, don't, oh my gosh, I feel like I can't pull this together, but what I'm saying is this: it's very important to first of all identify the fact that it's okay to expect to receive something when you give something. That's not your motive. And it's not that I'm saying I want to be selfish and I'm never going to give to anybody if they don't give anything to me. You will be drained though. If you are in a friendship with someone and you are constantly doing for them and thinking of them, etc., and they just don't reciprocate, you're not going to feel good on the other side of that. But I think it's very important to be intentional about it, and you can't force it. That's the other thing, whether it's a romantic person or a friend. Not That's what makes part of what makes a good friendship match is that some of this is happening naturally. That's what I found in the relationship that I got in after marriage. I wasn't asking for reciprocity, but it was happening automatically and
Mhm,
it was with ease. And that's how it should be, whether it's a friendship
mhm,
or romantic relationship. Now, friendships can be different because you may both have all of these other responsibilities. And so you have to give each other a different grace, especially if you're both in other relationships and you have a primary person that you already tend to. But even within that, there's nothing wrong with expecting to receive. I think that's what I really want to stress more than anything else. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having an expectation that if you're sowing into someone, you should get something in return. And this has affected me so deeply, Charlena, because my children watched me live on this one way street for so long. And now I'm seeing the result in terms of them having this expectation. Well, you're the mother, so you shouldn't need rest. You shouldn't need time to. My son said that. Well, why do you need a weekend off? Like, why do you need time to yourself? Like, he was offended that
mhm,
I might need some kid-free time. And some moms, they wouldn't want to tell their children that because they're so worried about, that the child's going to think that they're not, that I'm not a good mom. I told him, I said flat out, son, your father has 26 days to himself every month. I'm not going to feel guilty because I enjoy my time where you're not around. And this doesn't mean that I don't love you, but mom needs time to herself to not have to worry about you or anything else.
mhm.
And but I said, I
But
did.
you know what? But I think in terms of with our children, I think that it's important for them to understand there was a me before there was a you. I was a person that had a life before I became a mother. And it is important that I am able to stay connected to who I am as a person.
Yeah, you know what? I am, because we have to have a chat about a couple things when he gets home today. But yeah, I just have seen the results of my children, and I'm not even nearly as bad with this as some moms are, who are just 1,000% helicoptering, totally available to their children 24/7. There's no boundaries whatsoever. You can have boundaries with your children. You can have boundaries with anybody that's in your life. I keep my bedroom door locked all the time and I don't like it. But I left it unlocked one day when I'm just in here. My son just busted in, with no regard whether or not I'm dressed or not. And I see these moms sometimes, their kids are all in the bathroom when they're in there and they're fine with that. I mean, if you're fine with it, then fine.
And
But
I was
you
going
have
to say that.
permission to
I
have space to yourself and not have
But
people.
that's if you want that.
If you want that, that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
That's if you
They
right.
may
If
think
you
it's
want that.
cute.
So we're not here to, badmouth mothers that just are all into, you know, their kids and meeting their kids' needs like 24/7. If my child calls me, I'm there or whatever, whatever. If that's who you are and that works for you, bravo. Do that, be that. But for someone else who needs something different, we're
Don't feel.
just saying it's okay.
Yeah,
And you need to make that space for you. It's okay to
yeah.
want that and need that and demand that for yourself
Yeah, because
as a
I
mother,
think what ends up
as a
happening
parent, as a parent.
as a parent, and let me share this, because I think what ended up happening is because I wasn't getting reciprocity and nobody appreciated my efforts, I started isolating big time within the home. This is so important. I really hope that whatever woman it needs to hear this gets this message. If you don't deal with it in a healthy way, create those boundaries, explain it to your family, explain the level of reciprocity you need, or cut back on some of the things you're doing if nobody appreciates it, you're going to get not only resentment, but you're going to take care of yourself in ways that might be unhealthy. So I isolated from my family a lot. I would take care of their needs and then I would disappear. Either I would be gone all day out doing something for myself, or I would isolate in my bedroom a lot. We
Okay.
did not have family dinner together very often, none of that, because I could not figure out a way to get my own needs met and take care of them at the same time.
So
And nobody cared about what my needs were. And over time, I got tired of bitching about it.
So
And
what would you do differently?
let me see, besides the big D, much sooner,
What would you have done when your children were very young?
you know what I would have done? I would have taken my children with me more when I went out and like taken them one by one or individually and still spent. I would not have been able to ever get to a place where I had a sit down conversation with their father and say to him, "Hey, I really need this help. Hey, I really want us to have dinner as a family." That would not have worked. And I don't care what anybody thinks of what I just said. I was in that relationship for half of my life, like over 20 years. I tried it all, I read it all, etc. So I'm not rehashing any of that. The only thing that I know I could have done differently was give more attention to my children on an individual level, especially when he was not around. Because if he was around and I'm trying to talk to my child one on one, he would typically come up and start inserting things that were kind of contrary to what I was saying. So the only way, the best way would have been when I had one on one time with them to explain different things. But I think that one on one time with them would have helped. I just don't know how much of an
But
impact.
in terms of creating the boundaries where you introduce to them, hey, mom needs her own time, or mom needs this from you, in terms of setting what your expectations were for them in relationship to what you were doing as a mother, because you felt like, it was all sort of one-sided. What would you have done when they were younger if you were starting with a blank slate? How would you have approached that so that as they grew older, you felt that there was more balance in terms of giving?
But see, the reason why I keep answering about spending the one on one time with them, Charlena, is because I did not do that. He spent more one on one time with them. So his voice and opinions were dominant to anything that I might have said to them one off. I did tell them, mom needs time to herself. I need this time. It's okay for me to take time. When you're older, you'll do the same thing. But because I was not spending enough one on one time with them and as involved in their lives as I should have been, when he would say that it was selfishness, they basically just went with that I look selfish, and they did not see a need for me to rest because I wasn't in a supportive partnership where my partner said, let's let mom get some rest. That was a very, very rare
Yeah.
thing. And the example that I give all the time, that when it really kind of hit me, where I was on the food chain, was some trip we had taken, and I prepared all this food. Anybody who's followed me for a long time on Facebook has seen all the work that I used to do in this area. So I prepared these sandwiches, and whenever we stopped, everybody just dug in. And again, I didn't have a partner who would say, "Let's make sure mom has some." That, and I'm not bashing him because I don't think it even occurred to him to look out for me. I don't think it was a conscious decision to say screw her. I think that it just not thoughtful. And so I finally go in for my sandwich, and it was the smashed sandwich at the bottom. After I'm the one who prepared all of this deliciousness for everyone. And they would all say, you made too much food," but all of it would get eaten because I was thoughtful, and I would give options. Okay, let's have a tuna fish. Let's do an egg salad. This person may like this kind of bread. This person may want crackers. I would have a huge spread, and there was no reciprocity that came back to me. And over time, I got used to that, and I assigned it to my self-worth. Well, this is because I'm a difficult person. I'm so hard to please. And I was told that, well, I don't get you things because you're hard to please. And it's easier to say that to someone than it is to say to spend just 15 minutes. Can you spend, I don't care if it's a friend, right? 15 minutes of what would Charlena prefer? You know how many people just don't? We don't do that. People that we say we love, we don't just sit and
So,
think.
I think it's this. I think that so I think in the case of your children, it was just not being taught. If you're not a naturally compassionate person, and a naturally thoughtful person, because some people are, I think that you have to be taught that. I think that that's really important. I also think that, you know, in terms of your your children, um, I don't know. I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking about, you know, how do you fix that? Like, how do you?
And that's what I'm telling you. If I had spent more quality time with them on my own and had my own closer relationship with my daughters as they were growing up, my voice would have had more prominence. But because I was so I felt like I had to take care of myself. If he was around, I left him to the children. And then that's when I would go get in my me time. I was constantly, and I've been doing this since I became a mother so young. I realized, oh no, my life is over. So I began like crowding out time for myself because I had to be a mom too. So that would take us down a rabbit hole. It has nothing to do with this episode, but there's some patterns there. And then my mother isolated a lot when I was growing up. So I carried that forward, and it's heartbreaking for me. And I'm very grateful that I have my son now to myself. Honestly, it's so much easier for me to teach him and instruct him. And he said something right that caused me to, when I had to get his godfathers involved recently when the disrespect was too much, and he said to me, "You're a mom. You know, you're supposed to cook my food. You know why? You know what? I mean, you cook like once a week." He said it almost like this, like you want applause for cooking for me, but you're my mom, and that's what you're supposed to do. I was like, I think I'm seeing I think I'm seeing colors. The black mama came all the way out. And I'm not
Good,
going to say on this live what I did
good,
to him at that
good.
moment, in addition to calling some men into his life who I knew would not check him because they're doing me a favor, but checked him because they understood what a 14-year-old who says this could become at 24,
Grown man.
and how to be out in this world treating women. And I'm all for realizing that yes, he does need to respect me ultimately because I'm the mom and he lives with me, but I also firmly believe that a male needs another male in his face to say mm-mm. And when his godfather came over, his voice was like he didn't even raise his voice. He was like, "Okay, he's got 30 minutes to clean this room. Okay, let's see those grades. Okay, this is not how you're going to talk to your mom. Let's go take a look at what this trash looks like." And it was like a 180. And then he told him, "I'll be back next week." And he came back on Wednesday, checked over everything, asked him again about his missing assignments. And he knows that he goes to their house a lot. And he couldn't go the first time because of how he had treated me. Wasn't going to be allowed to go. And it was just shocking. The transition was immediate. And so anyway, that's off topic, but I've just come to believe that the other thing I want to get to, Charlena, is talking about how this shows up in friendships, because I think in a romantic relationship we do expect more reciprocity, and I think a lot of people, like you said, it's happening automatically in your relationship. But even with friends, how much slack do we give a friend who's not really showing up for us in the way that we're showing up for them?
Not happening. Not happening. For me, it's not. So the women and men that I consider to be my friends, I think it was Tori. Thank you, Tori. If you want a friend, you have to be a friend, and it goes both ways with both parties. So I expect, because I know the kind of friend that I am, I expect people that I consider friends, people that I am being a friend to, there are things that I do expect from them. And it really isn't. I don't even think it's like nothing that's like tangible, but it's I need you to be who you are, which is why I was attracted to you as a friend. And I need you to be there for me when I need you. And let me just say this, I also think that it's important in terms of how you frame your expectations of a friend. Um, I think that you have to make sure that what you're expecting of your friends is reasonable. I think that we need to vet people that well, let me just back up. I think first of all, we have to look at ourselves as friends and be able to assess, what do I offer as a friend? And then I think you also need to have a sense of, wow, you know what, these gifts of friendship that I offer, this is I believe, and this is not in an arrogant way, but I believe I'm a really good friend. I believe that I give really great gifts to the people who I extend friendship to. And as a result of that, I am I have an expectation that I receive what I need from them. And I assess to determine, is this a person that when I'm going to have a need, they're going to be able to be here for me to the best of their ability. So I have that sort of an expectation. I look at myself and I see what I have to offer. I vet whoever this other person is. I determine that yes, they are worthy. And I know this sounds arrogant, they're worthy of my friendship, but at the same time, because I have seen something in them that I truly value, I believe that I have to come to the table with something that provides value to them as well. And that's how I frame my friendships. It's a relationship of mutual benefit. And I think that the people that consider me to be their friends, they've done the same. Like I don't have friends that aren't desirable friends. So I think I have friends that other people would be honored to be in their circle of friends. And I am honored to be in the circle of my friends, and the individual people that um, I consider to be a friend, and they consider me to be a friend. I feel honored. And so because of that value, I think that we place on each other, it definitely impacts how we show up in the friendship.
You know what? You know how I've joked with you that I'm in the hole. I always feel like I'm in the hole with Charlena, and I think it's because, and I love my girlfriend Tori, even just for being on here watching. I but because I asked her the other day, um, what, like, why are you my friend? you know, and I put this in the chat. I put a couple things in here because I wanted to make sure that I touched on them.
Okay.
But I, like, for example, I think it's because, Charlena, my love language is acts of service, right? I don't even know what yours is. And you have done major acts of service for me. And that has led me to feel like I am always in the hole. And even now, 20 years in, I really have no idea why, what are you getting here? What am I bring, like one of my cousins said, well, I don't know what I bring to this relationship. I don't know what I bring to this friendship. I have no idea.
No,
Why
so
you
this is so and I wanted to say this. Let me tell you how I feel this about every single one of my friends. I feel like I get more than I give. I do. And to me, that's like the litmus test sort of my friendship. Like we both feel, I think all of my friends feel the same way. I think they feel like they receive more than they give. And I feel like I receive more from them than I give.
what are you
And
getting? I don't what are you getting?
what I get, so it's interesting because
Why are you friends
what
with
I
me?
get
I need
from
to know that.
you isn't, no. So I do get some acts of service from you. I do. You do. There's many things that you have done for me over the years. But what I get more from you is your inspiration. Like you inspire me to to try. to achieve, certain things. And I shared this with you, like since I've known you, the different things that you've done is just it inspires me. Like, when you chose to move out of the country, when you started your cooking and your mentoring, and then you're doing this, like you have a desire to do something, and then you take a talent, ability, and a gift, and you just move with that, and you make it into to you bring it to fruition, and just that influence in my life is powerful. And so
Mm,
while I don't necessarily need you to do, well, of course, I do need you to do things sometimes because I do ask, but that is so that's powerful. It's impacting in my life, and I love that, and I need that. And it's interesting. It's a similar quality that um, really all of my girlfriends have. And I've shared this with you because you've been around my girlfriends who are my crew, and you all have some very similar, I'll call them foundational qualities. And I think those are the things that make you all my friends. But you all show up in your own unique way of how you bring those qualities into my life. You all have your different personalities, your different little quirks, because I mean, you've been around everybody. Everybody's very different, in personalities, in appearance and style and all of that. But you all have some similar qualities, and then you all are just very, very good hearted. So you're very good hearted. You have a very, very good heart, very loving, generous. You're real. Like, you tell me what I need to hear. You're in my corner. You're team Charlena. So
1000.
all those are the things, is that's and I know you're going to tell me what I need to hear when I need to hear it. So it's all of those things that have caused our relationship to be what it is today. And I feel so blessed because we went through a time where we were not in a good space. I don't even know if we were really talking, but we were able to recover.
She cut me off, y'all. But it was good. It was good. It was a good
But
time.
I think we needed that,
Hmm. Yeah.
and to me there was enough of a foundation that allowed us to be able to come back and rebuild on that strong foundation that we had. And I think because we were able to do that, it has allowed us to sustain our friendship over the years. So yes, our relationship is reciprocal, and it is transactional. There are
But
things.
in a
Right,
different
but and that's the
way.
thing.
That's
People
what's
think
such a
people
powerful.
think that transactional relationships are a bad thing. That it's not. They think that phrase is a bad thing, and it's not. All it is basically saying is, you do this for me. Well, so when I think
That's
of
the thing. It has to be automatic.
right,
Let-
and see, that's the thing. I think that's the difference. A negative transactional relationship is, well, um, if you don't do this for me, then I ain't gonna
Right.
do that for you.
Tit for
Where
tat.
so maybe what I'm talking about is, we have not, and maybe I'm using the wrong, and maybe you can look that up, what the definition of transactional is, but maybe what I'm talking about is a reciprocal relationship versus a transactional relationship. And so I believe that relationships
Oh,
that
that's good.
are reciprocal versus transactional.
That's good. And so you know what the thing is? Oh, I think this is going to be the the example, but I don't want to I don't want to screen share it. I want to ask the question that's on the screen. But basically, I think if it's truly transactional, I'm only doing it to get something
Get
in return.
that.
That's
Exactly.
that's the big difference.
Hmm.
Whereas what we're talking about, it's and this is where I'm moving in my life 100%. I'm gonna try this all year long and see what happens. I want a life of ease. If I have to work too hard for this friendship, relationship, job environment, business deal, whatever, it's not for me.
Hmm.
If anything, things that are for me, I will move in natural alignment with.
Hmm. Hmm.
The best friendships are naturally aligned, and When we had that separation, you came back, wanted to reinvest in the relationship. Whereas I've had other friendships where the person never returned or couldn't have a mature conversation or didn't even want to tell me what they were really upset about. The first couple times it happened, I was upset. After that, I'm like, I just released them. If I don't mean enough to you to have a conversation and talk about what has occurred, screw it. I'm not chasing anything that doesn't want to be with me. And that can't be something that you just say or you put on a pretty little meme and you reshare it on Facebook. You have to internalize that and learn how to just let it go and not even hold on to any anger about it all day. But that ties in with the what I put on the screen is, when we're in romantic relationships, we will have no problem saying, "Can we talk? I got some things I want to address with you."
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
if you are, especially at our age, most of us have had long friendships. If
Mhm.
it's a close enough friend, have you thought about going out to lunch, to brunch with your girlfriend and saying, "I just want to check in on our friendship. How's
Mhm.
it going? Am I
Mhm.
the friend that you need me to be? Are you interested in hearing what I might need from you as a friend?" And to piggyback on that is something else I put in comments, and I think this is so important, especially for women who are in their 30s, maybe still building friendships. I
Mhm.
remember with my one of my besties, we went through this period where she expected me to be her source for any and everything. And I think it's not uncommon for some women to expect that whatever it is, like they expect way too much from a friend, and you're just burning people out left and right. No one friend can be everything you need, and you will drain them. And that's why it's so important, in my opinion, to have a good variety of friends to reach out to and know their strengths. Like for me, I am the best friend to send you $25. But if you need me to drive across town and do something spontaneous, I'm probably not going to be able to do that. And I don't want you to be mad at me and say, well, you're not a good friend because you didn't do X, Y, and Z. You have friends who will show up in person. I have friends who will send money. I have friends who will come over here today and help me reorganize my kitchen. I have a girlfriend who, anytime I invite her to a gathering, she's always washing the dishes. She just can't take it. And so she's doing that every time. Can we learn to understand who our friends are as people and accept the gifts that they bring? And if I wanted to get like super anal retentive with it, I could have a little chart and say, here's all the needs I have, and then drop my friends into those little buckets of things that they provide. And then here's what I'm offering as a friend, because I've learned that. I set expectations now with people right away. Traveling is one. Hey, I'm going to need some solo time on this trip. I don't want you to think I'm rejecting you or your presence, but there are going to be times where I fall back and disappear. That way, if you do get in your feelings about it, at least I know I told you in advance. But no one friend can be everything we need. Have a variety of friends. Know what they all specialize in. They're not all going to show up the same way, and they should not have to. And check in. Do a check in with somebody that
Mhm.
you really care about. How is the friendship? Like I just asked Charlena, and that was hard. It's hard to hear someone like sing praises about you. That was really hard to sit in that. And Tori basically said the same thing to me, because when I asked her, I was like, I don't bring anything to this friendship. And she just and basically she said something as simple as, I just like talking to you. And I was like, wow, I'm why? But that's because I have tended to focus on all the people who didn't like me or thought I was too much or didn't like how I talked or didn't got annoyed at the sound of my voice. All my energy went to them while I'm ignoring Tori, who would love to get a phone call from me. And she knows we need to talk on the phone more, Tori. I can only reach Charlena on the phone. So that's why she gets the phone. She uses listen, Tori, call on Charlena. Tori, I don't call you more because Charlena calls me all the time and she uses my phone battery. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about my physical phone. I'm not talking about my physical phone. I'm talking about the energy in my body that can be given to a phone call is
Oh,
used up by Charlena calling.
really?
And she doesn't use Polo. She just got with texting like 2 years ago. So I have to talk to her. I have like four friends who are only phone people, and Charlena calls me the most, but the others are like every couple of weeks we catch up on a phone call.
That's because I have flexibility during my day. I'm in the car. I just Need somebody to talk to sometimes. It's
So
really
does
difficult.
Tori. I think Tori, listen, I think Tori sometimes wants to call me. I visualize her like with the phone, like, but I know she doesn't do the phone, but she be
Tori,
wanting to talk. I miss
Tori,
Tori.
just press send. Go ahead and press it.
Just to call this bitch anyway. Just ignore her. Just call her anyway. We're gonna do better, Tori. We're gonna do. I actually had a scheduled talk with my bestie Yolanda. We had scheduled to talk at 5 yesterday, and then she ended up having to do something else that was really urgent, but we were actually planning to do a FaceTime call. This is a result of having a conversation about what does this friendship need. And we were talking about how, we're not as close as well as, that I have other friends I'm closer to because I physically see them more. And so we're trying this new thing where we just call each other and sit on the FaceTime together and drink wine and stuff like that. Like it doesn't have to be a pandemic, y'all. Could we learned from the
And you
pandemic?
know what else is interesting with all of the technology that we have? You can, like, say for instance, like I have to go and organize some things in my closet, but you could call somebody while you're doing some sort of task. You might be cleaning the kitchen, and you can turn on the phone, turn on Facebook first, FaceTime, and just while you're cleaning your kitchen, you can just talk to them on the phone and look at them every now and then. I mean, there's so many ways now that we can connect to people. I think I just have a lot of downtime because I'm in the car, but we can call people while we're doing whatever. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't really have a lot of free time or whatever, but I think we can. I think we can be creative.
I think for me, it's just that I'm on calls all day long at work. I have to talk. And sometimes by the end of the day, I just don't have any brain cells left for conversation because I am on calls all day and I have to be so crisp and polished on those calls. Like this week, Charlena, I have calls all day, Monday through Thursday, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm on it all day. We have meetings,
Are you trying
special
to tell me
recruiting.
something?
Hmm?
Are you trying to tell me something?
Did y'all see me try to sneak that? I tried to sneak it in. Y'all. She don't care. She's going to call anyway. She does. If she's in the car and she has a drive, and she has nothing else to do, she is dialing for dollars down that phone, baby. I know. If you don't answer, she going on to the next person. Oh, okay, I can't reach you. Oh, I wonder what Swan is doing next. Oh, let me see what Jackie's up to. She's blowing all of us up. I really feel that.
And right, so this is, yeah, I'll call you, and if you don't answer, I'll go to the next person, and then you call me right back, and you can't get me because I'm on the phone.
That's the truth. But this is the thing. Charlena has her bank account with me is so full. She has made so many deposits. Girl, we don't have enough time to really go. We could talk about this
Yeah, that's not
forever.
important.
Because the
Nobody
thing
wants to
is,
hear all of
well,
that.
and I'm not just talking about you. I'm saying that anybody that we deal with, if you think about it, there are people. My mother said this one time. This is so good and toxic at the same time, that when my father got sick towards the end of his life and she had to care for him all the time, it was a text or something, and she put it in writing and said, he has not made enough deposits into this account for the withdrawal that he is requesting. In a nutshell, she said, I think I said it, I like the way I phrased it just now. Well, she said he's trying to cash checks on an empty account.
Mm.
You never know when you might need to write checks on a friendship or a relationship or a former situation or a former boss or somebody, a coworker, anything. You never know when you might need to write a check. And if that account is empty or, God forbid, overdrawn, now you're officially a taker. And nobody's going to want to give you the support that you need. And if they do, you're going to feel guilty about it because you know you ain't making no deposits over there. And so that's why when I went through that drama a couple of weeks ago and I wasn't sure if I was going to have like a major crisis, I had a moment of calm when I realized I have a strong enough network that if I needed, let's say, 20 grand, there were 20 people in my phone. I started bawling just thinking about this. And I want everybody to think about this because if you don't have what I'm getting ready to describe, You need to sit down with yourself, get a notebook out and do some work and build this community for yourself. It's not about being a taker. You need to, it's a two-way street. So what I'm saying is I said in that moment, if I needed 20 grand today, I'm talking it's 10 a.m. right now, 12 o'clock. If I needed 20 grand by 6 because I had something urgent going on, there are 20 people in my phone right now that I could text. I wouldn't even have to
Mhm.
call. I wouldn't even have to give a lot of details. I need $1,000 from you by 6 o'clock. It's urgent. I can't even explain it right now, but I have to have it. I would have 20 grand. I would have 20. I know that I would have that.
Mhm.
And everyone should have access to that type of community. And if you're struggling to get it, that might be a sign that you're not making enough deposits
Mhm.
in enough other people's lives. And you should not approach that from a transactional perspective of I need to build this network so in case I have a need, I can get it. No, no, that's not the motive. For me, that wasn't the motive. That's not the reason why I have these 20 people
Mhm.
now, and it's also because I don't ask them for anything. That's why I know they would give me 1,000 today. And several of the people that I'm thinking about have already offered me money in the past when I've been on hard times, and for the most part I've said no. And let me be clear, that would not be a loan, y'all. That's not what I'm talking about. If
Mhm.
I said to them I need $1,000 and I can't give it back because
Mhm.
my total need is 20 grand and there's no way I'm going to be able to pay any of this back, I know that I would have those people to call. And if you don't have people that you know would be there for you in a time of need and drop everything, etc., you owe it to yourself to start making some deposits and start building a community because you never know what can happen. We're in a time of uncertainty and chaos, and never has it been more important to have community than it is now. And that's for the other side of it, Charlene, because we are givers, but there's a lot of people who are takers. And that might be part of the reason why they can't get that community. Because every time you call people, you need something. You're always the one that's receiving, 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 and not giving enough. And for me, I've had it with that. I can spot those people a mile away, and I'm not doing it. Not as a lover, not as a friend, not from my children. I expect reciprocity from my 14-year-old.
Mhm. Mhm.
I definitely expect it from him, and I don't want him to be transactional. But this trash, you need to, you have things that you need to do to contribute around here, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So you mentioned something interesting. You talked about takers. I've always felt that givers and takers really can't have a quality relationship. Uh, you can't, especially if you're a giver. Uh, but for people who are takers, you know, how can a can a taker ever change?
Ooh,
Can a
let me write
taker?
something down. Hmm. Um, Takers have a lack and scarcity mentality. This is what God just told me. I'm going to say that very, very plainly. You're a taker because you have a lack and scarcity mentality. You
Mhm.
don't want to give because you're afraid it will not be replenished. And so you must hoard. And it doesn't have to be money. It could be it could be you're hoarding everything. You're hoarding your talents, your gifts. It could be that you were used at some point, and so now you're scared to give and it doesn't feel safe or whatever it may be. Or you could just be
Very
a
profound.
who is just centers everything around yourself. And I'm just saying, I have dealt with a lot of taking. And when I started dating after my divorce, one of the first things he said to me is, no, a few months in, I've noticed that you're surrounded by takers.
Mm.
And so he would say, I don't need anything. He didn't want to be on that list. And I did not know that everyone who was around me, I'm bringing it close to home. I'm talking about my immediate family. My friends are not takers at all. But my immediate family, everybody was just pulling on me. Nobody ever said, what can we do for her? Let's replenish her. But takers have a lack and scarcity mentality. And until you fix that at the root, at its deepest root and cause, why am I afraid to give? What am I concerned about? You'll never get any better and you will be alone because people will keep dropping you as they realize you're only here to take. And also, some takers, and these are the scariest kind,
Very
they will
powerful.
mask as givers. Sometimes they will do things or they will appear in a certain way that seems to be giving, or they'll be like super friendly, and so you think they're a good person or nice or whatever, but deep down inside, if you really peel it back and look at it, they're taking.
But that's they're being transactional.
Transactional. Or it could be that they're giving again, and this is rare. They're just giving things that you don't really need, or they're doing things, but it's not directly what you're asking for or what you need. And so it's still not there. In my mind, you're still a taker. If we're in a friendship, like Charlena needs to talk on the phone. I'm going back to you. If I was never available on the phone, it might not matter what other things I was doing for her if I'm not meeting her core need of having those conversations, whatever those things are. But that's my strong opinion on why people are takers, and that's the only way you can fix it, is getting to the root of why are you afraid to give to other people? Why are you so selfish? You
That's
know,
very profound. Very, very profound.
yeah. Yeah, and I have struggled with selfishness, and I've had to learn, one, to be a better listener, which is something I'm still working on heavy, because Charlena, for example, is an excellent listener. Everybody needs a friend like this. You and my god sister Christine, CM Scotty, who's on the show, who comes and watches often, the most exceptional listeners I've ever met in my life. Like in my dreams, I want to wake up and be the kind of listener you guys are. And you and I talked about this with a friendship that you had, where anybody have that friend where their listening is cumulative? That's next level gold. When they say, now wait a tiny minute here. Um,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
June, hold on, let me get into full posture. If you don't have this
Right.
friend, y'all, listen. If you want to make a list of the type of friends that you need, I know we're over time. We're going to close this out soon, like they say in church. We're coming to a close. Get
Right.
the cue the music. No, but
Right.
these friends like this, if you're making a checklist of the types of friends you need, you definitely need this one, the strong listener. And you do need to check yourself, because you can get very addicted to them just listening to you and say, oh, let me make sure that I call her. Put in your calendar and just listen to her one day, because they will, in June of 2023, you had said then that he was doing this or he was doing that, or you had said you were going to do it back then. And did that happen? And you'd be like, whoa, I can't believe she remembered that. They keep track of everything. And they'll remind you, well, this happened before. And that's the level I want to get. I'm thinking, are you journaling our conversation? Are you remembering all of this history of everything we've talked about? It's a gift.
I have one of those. I have a friend like that. I think you only need one. You just need one. I've got one.
Yeah, you do need at least one. And then for the rest of us, be intentional of thinking. If you tend to be more like me, because I still get very self-absorbed in conversations, it takes intentional effort for me to say, let me ask how Charlena is doing, especially because Charlena, in the past, I'm going to out you here, but I'm not going to go into any details. Actually, I'm not going to make this about you. I think some people ask about you because there's stuff they don't want to talk about. And so they're trying to think about whatever you might have going on so they can press their stuff down. I can't assign that to you because I don't know if that's true or not. I've noticed that with some friends, they will seem so into you and what you're doing because they have things they're avoiding. And so then you may want to say to them, well, how are you doing? What's going on with you? And kind of press a little bit just to make sure that even the listening is reciprocal, and that you're checked in with their life, and it's not just, every conversation isn't just about you and what you have going on. And I have noticed that with some of my friends, like I will listen to them and give them feedback on whatever they shared, but then when I'm sharing my stuff, I'm getting very limited. I don't feel like they're really connecting to whatever my challenge is at the moment, and you're not like that, so I'm very thankful.
Yeah, I think this friendship thing is, and I want to go back to what Tori said about, if you want to, basically, if you want to be a friend, then if you want to have a friend, then you need to be a friend. If you want to, yeah, if you want a friend, you have to be a friend. And it really comes down to that. It really does. Um, that's everything in a nutshell.
Yeah. Look what Tori said she's gonna start calling me now, Charlene, because of what you said. Oh boy. All right, Tori. You know what, Tori? Listen, I have a long drive in front of me this afternoon to go and get a tent. Like I mentioned at the beginning
So,
of this.
and also, Cara, just
Yeah.
let me interject. When you go and pick up the tent, let him know that you're going to want him to open it up because you don't know what he's planning for his day.
Oh,
And
okay.
he may be planning on you coming in, giving him the money. He gives it to you. Let him know that your plan is for him to set it up and take it down in front of you. So he
Okay.
can plan his day.
Okay.
Okay, so go back to Tori and
Yeah.
gonna
I'm just saying that if she's free this afternoon, Tori, let me know and I will call you while I am on the road. But I also may completely forget that I just said that. So feel free to reach out. But I do need to call Tori more because she is a phone person who has compromised by being on the video chat app with me. And I know she would prefer more phone calls. And Tori is a treasure and a joy. You will meet her when we go to Mexico City next year, which is another thing I need to get back
are you
on.
talking to me that
I'm
I'm gonna
talking to you, Charlene. I'm saying she's
we've
a
met before.
Oh, that's right. And at the wedding too.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you're driving back home at 6 p.m. I don't think I'll be out that late, but it would be great if we were on the phone in the car at the same time. But we'll work it out, Tori, because I also have things I need to do around the house and I can just talk on the phone while I'm doing that. But yeah, you that's right. You guys did meet. Yeah. She's you guys have very similar energy and it's interesting you're both nurses. Maybe that's part of the reason why. You do know how listen, we gotta go. But I wonder if God gave me all these nursing friends because he knew that I lacked nurturing in my life in the other areas of my life. Seriously, like, my mother wasn't nurturing, my grandma, I don't have any of those. Oh, you sometimes you just need your mom. That doesn't resonate with me. My family has serious maternal issues that I've been healing for my generation. But I wonder because you, Tori, Karen, my god sister Christine, I literally have like 6 or 7 good friends who are in the nursing field, and you guys are all
And you know what? Perhaps that is why you've been attracted to us as friends to help you develop that area of deficiency, because as I said, all of my friends, all of my girlfriends are entrepreneurs. All of you,
mm,
all of you.
and that's something that you have always yearned for, and so you've attracted that.
I lack that.
I'm like an entrepreneur with no businesses.
Yes, you did when you were doing
I
your
mean, I've done, you're right. I've done the
yes.
coaching. I did the
Stop
body
it.
butter thing.
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
I think it's my natural, but again, I'm moving with ease now. So I'm not forcing
But
anything.
but I don't know if you necessarily were forcing any of that. It was your
Mm,
talents, your interest, and you
that's
just
true.
made it come into fruition. That's all it
Yeah,
was. So
yeah,
so stop it.
yeah. Well, thank you. And like I said, I'm moving into a life with ease now, and I'm being led to do different things that I don't know. I don't like my spiritual mother would say, we don't know what anything is for. If there's a calling on you, to do a little something, which is true for both you and Tori, have the same burning desire to do a little something extra, a little something different. I would actually love for us to get on a video chat
That's
outside of the live
great. Love
environment
that.
because you guys together, both of you have a certain amount of risk aversion. Tori a bit more than you, but I would love to do that because I told you I'm getting into the camping. I'm also going to become a certified herbalist. If not this year, then next year. I'm waiting on a specific program to open. And I just have several passions. I would love to turn my home into a wellness property at some point. And so I don't know if I'm being spirit led to learn about certain modalities and things for that future purpose, but I'm just moving with ease as I'm being
And
spirit led.
perhaps we can do a podcast on that. We can do an episode on um, setting goals, barriers to goals, identifying gifts, But I had a revelation, and I'm going to share this because you know what I've been trying to focus on in terms of me and giving back and fulfillment and all of that. But um, I was impressed. I was sitting outside having my personal time and just talking to the Lord, and what has been revealed to me is you will not, if you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing, you will not have peace in other areas of your life that you're doing other things. Like if you're supposed to be doing this one thing, but you're not doing it, but you're doing these other things, trying to find the fulfillment, you won't have fulfillment in those things until you do the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, we gotta unpack it, and so I'm gonna see, can I get Tori to come on camera, and maybe we can do it live where we really just think about it, and then we'll see. Maybe the spirit will lead someone who has more knowledge than me and can guide us through it, or we'll just do it together because I don't know why I've taken so many risks, but I told Tori this. Well, first of all, to tie this back to what we were talking about, y'all, look at how you can naturally create friendships that shore up areas of your life where you may be challenged. And that's how your friendships can even balance each other. If you're very tight and risk averse, you have a friend who's more of a free spirit, nomadic risk taker that you can draw inspiration from. And then me, I need friends like Tori to keep me from doing something too crazy, and to give me more balance in those areas. But I would love to be able to talk it through and explore it in more depth. So, but I think yeah, I just like to, one of the reasons why I jump around and do all these things is because I do have a lot of different passions and interests and curiosity. And my father telling me you'll never be satisfied, I thought was a negative thing. And just recently, within the past year or so, I've realized that's a good thing. I don't
I
ever want to be
that.
satisfied. I can always make it better. I can always do things better. I can always improve things. And some people are really annoyed by that mindset because they just want to land the plane. Those aren't my people. you know, I'm always going to look to tweak something, do it better, try to improve.
So yeah, we'll do that. We'll figure that out. We will make that
Yeah,
happen. I'm looking forward to it.
yeah. Well, this was great.
Tori, are you in?
Yeah, Tori, are you in to come on? I think you're still watching. Are you in to come
Or
on?
if not coming on, just us getting together and then, well, one step at a time, Cara, just the three of us getting together and
That's
then,
true. We can get together and talk about what it looks. She's in. Look, Tori keeps her face beat on a Sunday afternoon. She could pop on here right now. She looks great. So, and I all I have on is this lipstick. Okay, so I'm glad she's in and she can come on because I do think that. Okay, she said that. See, this is Tori. This is the risk part. Where did Charlena go? She clicked the off button. She accidentally outed herself, y'all. So we will get together, us three first, and talk about what that could look like. Now I'm going to get a card ready. I'm going to get a card ready for us to close us out. And if she comes back, then I will bring her back to the stage. I also want to share as an announcement that I'm going to start going live on Wednesdays by myself. I hope to start this Wednesday. I want to make sure, though, that whatever topic I'm discussing, it is spirit led. There are just some extra things that have been on my heart. And so I'm going to start doing a live stream in the middle of the week to share different information or techniques. Lots of talk about spiritual things will come from that. And so look out for more information or to see an announcement from me on that as well. I don't want to do it until I can do it with a certain amount of consistency. So, all right, waiting for her to come back. But in the meantime, I'm going to pull a card to kind of set our tone for the week. A soul's journey card. These are lesson cards. Again, I have to say this again. I am not pulling a tarot card. I'm not about to tell you your future. There are no skulls or crossbones on anything that I use. And then we will close with our breath. Okay. So let me just I'm just taking a breath, just really kind of trying to hear, is there a specific card that I should be pulling? And I do trust in the Holy Spirit to show me. Okay. I knew you clicked a button. I'm pulling a card now to close us out. Listen, technology is not her friend, y'all. It's just not.
I'm a nurse, like I say all the time. I may not be able to do all this technology stuff, but fall on the floor. I'm your girl.
Oh my
I,
gosh.
I got you.
Look at the card I just pulled. I said, Lord, what card should I pull? And I heard take a few cards and then turn over the one at the bottom of the cards in your right hand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm getting so much better at this. When I pray, even though every card is great in all of my little decks, I got my self-love cards here or whatever. When I pray and I just listen and the Holy Spirit tells me something, it's weird. It's like, oh, God could, because when these are upside down, God already knows what everything, it's just amazing. Okay, so purpose says, I know what I am here to do. Mm. I think sometimes we overthink this, but I'm not going to go down that road right now, but I do think we overthink it. We think it has to be big. Your purpose might be to spread love every day when you leave your house and make sure you smile at people, and you're probably already doing your purpose in some ways. I know what I'm here to do. Okay. You are here on earth for one major goal, to express love in all that you do. I just kind of said that. There are obstacles that can distract you from that goal, and it's easy to lose your way. Life is on earth is full of obligations that require your conscious attention, but that doesn't mean you can't infuse all of your decisions with caring and compassion. Your purpose in life is not your career. Rather, your career is guided by your purpose.
Mhm.
What activities speak to your soul? What brings you joy? Hmm. That is the direction your soul is calling you towards to best convey your own unique expression of love and make a contribution to the world.
Yeah.
If you are not happy with your current circumstances, then that is your soul telling you that there is a better way to manifest your own distinct gifts.
Mhm.
Listen to your intuition. It is your connection to spirit and the voice of your soul. Charlena, I am going to take a picture of this reading and text it to you specifically and to Tori, because I know that you both are really stirring, trying to figure out, like, what is this thing? What should I be doing?
Mhm.
And I think this will really support you. Mm. See, because I know my purpose and I've overthought it, and part of it is right here. Part of it is here. Part of it is sharing, being upfront, saying the things that other people don't want to say out loud. Is a big part of my purpose, and using my voice. And you're doing your purpose, and you're finding your purpose by being on the show with me and being so
So
committed to this.
I think that I'm looking for ways to manifest it. I'm
Yeah.
looking, how do I manifest my purpose on this earth?
Yes.
So
Yes, you are.
what is,
Wonderful. Well, all right. So we're going to close
take our breath.
with our breath. And I did mention, Charlena, I'm going to be doing some lives on Wednesday nights. And in some of those lives, you guys, I'm going to share more breath work and more of the spiritual practices that I have, and other thoughts that may come to mind. They may end up being like just 30-minute sessions. I'm not really sure, but I am going to be starting that probably this week. So it's just something that I feel on my heart in addition to the show. All right, so let's get comfy. Let's get comfy. We're going to clear our minds. We're going to take a minute right now. Just allow your eyelids to close. Just relax. The first thing I want you to do is realize that this moment is for you. It's for you. No one needs anything from you right now. So if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, I want you to do that. I want you to stop thinking about time for just a moment. Instead, focus on yourself, focus on the inside, who you are, focus on your breath, just calming your breath down. Any tension or nervousness in your body, just let it go. Make sure your shoulders are nice and relaxed. Make sure your belly is relaxed and not tight. Relax your tongue in your mouth. And while you're doing all of this, you're just slowing those thoughts down. Don't think about what you have to do next. It will come back to you when you need it. And you're just going to take a few relaxing breaths, and we're going to do one box breath of 4 4 4. Right now, we're just relaxing and settling in. Make sure that your spine is erect. Even though your shoulders are relaxed, you should still be sitting up straight, almost like there's a string on the top of your head and somebody's pulling it up to make sure that your spine is upright. Legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor. All right, and now let's inhale for 4 through the nose. Hold for 4 and exhale through your mouth. And just relax. All right, you can open your eyelids and come back to the space. The word for this week is purpose. Don't overthink it. Pray about it. Ask the Holy Spirit, I'm so confused by this. What is my purpose? You're probably already doing it. I want to thank you all for coming to the show today, the Rebirth Experience with Coach K and Charlena Anita. We are so grateful for you guys. Charlena, anything else you want to say before we let the people go?
I just want you to know that those breathing exercises really help. I've never really done that before. I don't know if I've shared with you, I am training a new employee. And yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And
I'm
so,
just sipping my tea and minding my business.
and so I've utilized the breathing techniques and it really, really helps. So I'd like to encourage people throughout your day. These exercises are just not for the end of each show, but throughout the day, if you find yourself in a stressful moment, you feel yourself getting tense, your blood pressure going up, getting a headache or whatever, just take a moment, find a space, and do the exercise. It really helps.
It's changed my life. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the Wednesday night, so we can focus more on those things with so much stress around us this year. And in general, use your breath. That's why when you see and they say, calm down, take a breath. But even when we're taking breaths, we still tend to rush ourselves. Some of us, I'm prone to that. Calm down. Take some breaths. They say that 6 breaths can bring your body down from fight or flight, and just calm down, flight or fight, whatever. It can calm your whole body down. Do you 3 is the minimum. We just do 1 here because I don't want to keep you guys on here forever, etc. But 3 is ideal. 3 deep breaths. And take some deep breaths, calm your body down first, and then do the box breathing up. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. You can do it in your car, you can do it in your home. When you're about to confront your child or have any kind of uncomfortable conversation, take time to do some breath work first, and it will clear your mind out of all the clutter so that you can approach something that might be contentious with a lot more calm. If people would just stop rushing directly into things, that would cut down on a lot of conflict. It really changed when you open your eyes after that breath work, baby. It's like a new day. That's why you're enjoying it like that, Charlena. So I want to thank everybody, and I hope people are actually taking time to do the breath at the end. So thank you for reinforcing that. Bye, everybody. See you
Hey,
next time.
bye.
Bye.